Welcome into the debut edition of Freshly Grated with Marcello Romano. I got my guest here, the guy that I've so aptly nicknamed the fire starter. That's James Marilat. James, I don't think we could have started this on a better week after the Broncos have a miraculous victory, something setting records, history being made. 33 points in the fourth quarter. I know we'll hash out how it got done in the end, but if you go back and you're a very analytical guy, how did this happen?
I don't know. I really don't. Like, I was thinking about this morning, that if the tipped pass touchdown doesn't happen, right? Like, that very easily could have been picked off, and that was what got it to 19-8. If that gets picked off, we're probably here talking today about how the Broncos got shut out at home, something that very rarely happens. Instead, we're talking about them scoring 33 points in the fourth quarter and pulling off a 33-32 win. Just like, oh my gosh, how did it go from one extreme to the other? And a lot of it was things the Broncos did.
Yeah.
A lot of it was things the Giants did that were, sort of some self-inflicted wounds of, not only missing the 2 extra points, but when they went up 19-0, chasing the point with the 2-point conversion, just kick it and go up 20-0. Like, I don't know what coaches are thinking on some of these instances. Throwing the ball with Jackson Dart that turned into a pick, throwing the ball on the next drive that made the Broncos not have to use their last timeout, which if they do, then they got to get an onside kick to be able to win the game. It's just everything that had to go right did go right, and it very rarely happens. It's like flipping a deck of cards and guessing the card about 14 times in a row. It's possible. It's just not going to happen very much, but it did on Sunday.
Well, listen, in full transparency, when they get the tipped pass on their end to score the touchdown, I fell asleep. I'm not going to lie. I woke up to my son and my wife cheering at the Sternad interception.
Okay,
sure.
So,
I'm being truthful there, but to your point of, flipping the cards, I'm a movie buff. This reminds me of when Wyatt Earp goes out against Curly Bill in the water. Like, he's not thinking about anything, right? He knew they had the higher ground. They had more people there, and for whatever reason, he did it. So now how do they recoup? Because next week, and I'll stay with Tombstone. They got Johnny Ringo and freaking Dak Prescott, who's having an MVP caliber season, and that offense coming in. If you don't stack up with them offensively, your defense has been great, but it can only hold you so far.
Well, yeah, and it's not going to be able to hold down the Cowboys to the extent they have some of the quarterbacks they've played already this year, right? Where you're getting guys making their first career start. You're getting a couple of guys who've already been benched. I mean, it ain't Jake Browning rolling into town. It's Dak Prescott. So the defense, even if they play well, is probably still going to give up, low to mid-20s? And that would be playing really well. The offense is going to have to be better. Usually you learn more in a loss than you do in a win. I think the Broncos, though, can learn a lot from this win. And the number one takeaway for Sean Payton needs to be, well, what did I do in the first 3 quarters versus what did I do in the fourth quarter? And a lot of it was he just turned his quarterback loose because he had to. He called 11 screen passes in the game.
Yes.
Most of those were in the first 3 quarters. It was, as you're watching it, you're like, is he protecting his quarterback? Does he not trust his quarterback? What's going on here? And I do think a little bit of it is Sean's kind of a control freak. I don't know if you've picked up on that from him.
Just a little bit.
And Drew Brees, Hall of Fame quarterback, but a little bit, robotic's not the right word because robotic sounds stiff, but it's more like he's just a computer. He's out there executing exactly what Sean Payton wants. Mm-hmm. Sean doesn't do particularly well with guys that are kind of playmakers off script. And Bo Nix, not that he can't turn into that computer, but right now, he's better when he's a playmaker off script and just kind of moving around, right? Like, because all the comparisons this week have been, well, was it more Tebow-esque or was it more Elway-esque? Well, what do those two guys have in common? Just kind of when everything breaks down, finding a way to make something good happen. And I know nobody likes to hear me talk about Russ, but I was also thinking about this morning coming in here to do this show with you. If you go back to his last game as the Broncos quarterback, it was Christmas Eve against the Patriots. If they win, they're probably going to make the playoffs. If they lose, they're eliminated. They're down 23-7 going into the fourth quarter. And all of a sudden, it's just like, hey, Russ, go do your thing. Yeah, we got to turn you loose.
Yeah.
He goes 14-18, 154 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 2-point conversions, and it's suddenly 23-23. What does that sound like? It sounds like what we just witnessed on Sunday, where when he's controlling everything, the quarterbacks aren't very effective and the offense isn't very effective. when he lets loose of the reins a little bit, it's like, hey, I know the wild stallion might go in whatever direction, and sometimes it's going to be bad, but you got to let him be that way. It's why I thought Sunday was more Elway-esque than Tebow-esque, because John Elway, most of those great comebacks and those memories happened when Dan Reeves was the head coach, and he was tightly on the reins, and oh my God, let's not make a mistake. And it was finally, we're down 19-0 to the Colts. Might as well let John go be John, and it went crazy.
You could even compare it to when Gary Kubiak had Peyton Manning.
Right.
That Chiefs game early in that season, the Super Bowl season, I remember that where it was like he finally took the handcuffs off and was like, you go do you at that point.
Yeah.
And it's the similarities are kind of crazy there. At some point or another, we're in week 7. And I'll always say Sean Payton knows more about football than I ever will. So I'll never question how much he knows, but at some point, like, why are we just figuring this out now? Because of the momentum that you finished with last season in the playoff berth, and I know you got blown out. The game was actually closer than it looked, the playoff game. But you came in thinking, all right, there's the idea of a sophomore slump. He may struggle a little bit here and there. But how does it look like they've regressed? And on the flip side, the G-men with Jackson Dart going out against this defense, making him look like everything they wanted was there. They weren't guys that were just barely open. Jackson Dart was throwing to wide open guys.
Yeah, but if you look at Brian Daboll's at least recent history, right? He was in Buffalo before, where he's coaching Josh Allen. It's a guy that, hey, we just got to kind of let him go make his plays, and it's going to lead to mistakes. He didn't come from a background where it was stick to my system, go through your checks. If you do that, it's going to be successful. It was a little bit like, hey, I'm more comfortable with letting him wing it, and he lets Jackson Dart wing it. That, I think, is the biggest issue that Peyton has to overcome because, look, it's going to result in some ugly games. If he just turns Bo Nix loose and, like, we're going to chuck it all over, we're going to throw it downfield, we're not going to dink and dunk, we're not going to throw 11 screen passes, we're going to, let him play like he played in the fourth quarter. You're going to end up with a game where he throws 4 picks. You just are. And it's going to be ugly, and when you're a control freak, and I don't mean that in a bad way, because I think to be a good head coach, you have to be type A and kind of a control freak.
Yeah, the details matter.
But it's kind of letting it out of your hands, and every once in a while it's going to be a disaster. I think you got to learn to live with that because the risk is worth the reward. And that's why I think Brian Daboll's been able to find more success with Jackson Dart early because he just is like, wing it, kid. And you know what? Every once in a while, you're going to throw a pick to Justin Sternett because you don't see him. That's what's going to happen.
Yes. Well, I mean, I would look at it this way. At what point does Bo Nix start to feel that pressure? And at what point, like, we've praised him for standing up to Sean Payton on the sideline and letting him know, hey, that's not what I saw. This is what's working. When does it just kind of he go Willie Beeman from any given Sunday? And, like, you can call that play. I don't like it. At some point, it seems because those type of personalities, and I agree with you, he likes the details too, and I think Bo Nix is a very smart player. But at some point or another, you're just going to keep butting heads to where you got to last Sunday through 3 quarters, and Bo Nix worrying about how he's going to answer questions that they got shut out.
Yeah, and I think it's, again, not to put him in the Elway category. I think that's unfair to Bo Nix. But if you look at the progression of John Elway's career, a lot of those crazy comebacks were early in his career, and he was awful for 3 quarters. Like, I sat through most of those games, right? And it's like, oh, my God, this is brutal. And all of a sudden, there's this magic that was happening. And then later in his career, after he was under Fossil and then with Shanahan, he became more of a high percentage passer and all the rest of that stuff. I think we need to see a little bit of that right now. They need to let Bo Nix be that way because right now his greatest strength is his ability to move around and make plays and his arm. That's his greatest strength. And over time, his greatest strength is going to become how he sees the game and seeing the game like Sean Payton sees it. He just ain't there right now. He's just not, and that's not a knock on him. I think he's a smart quarterback. It's just a lot to consume and process and whatever. So I don't think he's regressed. I think.
So where do you have him? Because I do the Sunday morning show.
Yeah.
And you joined me as a guest.
Yep.
And you had we were running out of time, so I couldn't put you in verbal timeout. But you said something that I hated hearing at that time was that he's more like a Kyle Orton type player for you. Did anything change on Sunday in the way that you view Bo Nix and where he's at right now with his progression?
Yeah, because I think he has more of a clutch gene than Kyle Orton ever had. right? I don't know if people remember this, but I mean, the Orton year is very forgettable. If you want to just have
Which is why I hated you saying it so much, I think.
If you wanted to have some amnesia, that'd be the couple of years you'd want to have him for. But I remember a game where they were making a comeback against the Raiders, right? It was at Empower Field. All right, they got the football. They got a chance to win it. And Kyle Orton, in the most Kyle Orton just manner imaginable, goes to throw a pass. It flies out the back of his hands, turns into a fumble. Raiders recover it. Ball game over.
Yeah.
Like, you could not be less clutch. It's something he's done quite literally probably 100,000 times, throw a ball.
Yeah.
How many times has it slipped out of the back of his hand? He found the worst possible time to make it happen or have it happen. Bo Nix, when the pressure was on and he had to have it, made the plays. And you know what? You also get a little lucky when you've kind of got that mojo.
Yeah.
Because the long pass to start the game-winning field goal drive wasn't intended for Marvin Mims. He missed Cortland Sutton, and Marvin Mims just happened to be there to catch it. So that's where he's a little bit different, where, you know, Tebow had a little luck. John had a little luck. And I just think certain guys have that. And, you know, it's like most things in life. If you're lucky, most of that is kind of your own doing. You make your own luck. Yeah. And it's just belief in the people around you believe in. And it's one of those weird things. It's why I wrote about Mile High Magic, because you can't explain it. You just can't explain how you miss your receiver and it turns into a 30-yard completion. You just got to sometimes just be like, I'm just going to jump on board and ride this out.
The miracles are great. I don't think, I mean, that's not sustainable, of course. So we'll spend a little time in a minute talking about who the Broncos really are going forward. But we're going to debut a new little segment here, too. And it's called Did I Say That? Some of the things that we may have seen or said. Live tweeting is something that happens, right? Yeah. Or on X.
Yeah.
I'm probably not as active as you are, but I think it's interesting if we go back and watch chronologically, and it might be cathartic and therapeutic for us.
Yeah.
To read what we were thinking in that moment, knowing how we felt in that moment. So I'll start with mine.
Okay.
I'm not huge on X, but at a certain point in that game in the third quarter, I think my family got sick of hearing me say it, so I needed to get it out to the masses.
Yeah, that's why I tweet so much in the game, because none of the people I'm watching the game with want to hear it.
Exactly. I wrote, it's been a minute, and I've tried to give this Broncos offense the benefit of the doubt, but it's now clear. Sean Payton may have lost his touch. How does a rookie quarterback on the road against this defense look so appreciably better than the Broncos offense?
Well, you weren't wrong at the time you tweeted it.
I know. That's what's great about this. Is
yeah.
I love yours. You're like, I wasn't wrong when I said that?
No. It's live tweeting. Like, I had a guy come at me this week, like, you clearly don't watch the All-22. And I'm like, not in the third quarter when I'm tweeting this. People just don't seem to get it.
Give me one of yours, one of your highlights.
All right, so I'm not sure which one we got coming up here first. I don't know if it's going to pop on screen or what we got here. I mean, I had a few stinkers that
they didn't age well.
No, they did not age well, which I'm fine with.
Which is fine. While you're bringing it up, I'll give you my. Well, this is the one where I was done. All right, I think I laid it out patiently the first time. My second tweet was, "What a disgrace! And of all days to look this bad, Broncos country. I'm dumbfounded. The preseason commentary just flat out looks comical now." And when I say that, I meant obviously he's coached 6 teams that he thought could win a Super Bowl. This will be his 7th.
Yeah.
Bo Nix is going to be a top 4 or 5 quarterback.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
When you're down 19-0 at home, that looks silly.
Yeah.
Here's one I had. I had Sean is bad, or Bo is bad, or both, but it's not none of the above. I still think that's kind of true. Like, something caused them to have 0 points through 3 quarters. And they were bad during that. They were abysmal during that time, and that has to be fixed. So I think you could take that and in the fourth quarter say Sean is great or Bo is great or both, but it's not none of the above. It just was not a tale of 2 halves, a tale of 3 quarters versus 1.
Well, plus, and it was about 7 quarters, James. I mean, the opening quarter against the Jets wasn't horrible, but the remainder of that game was terrible. So you had at least 6 quarters where it was god awful.
Yeah.
And especially when you have a guy who is an offensive genius, an offensive guru, Bo Nix, the type of season he had last year, People will point to the lack of like specialty weapons that he may have. They're not utilizing anyone. It's like they're using everything, which isn't being successful.
Yeah,
either.
they got all these guys that have this potential, and they love to go to Nate Atkins. And it just doesn't make much sense to me. All right, here's another one for you, which, again, I think was right. Right-handed Tebow with a stat padding TD. Was he not Tebow-esque?
Yeah.
So he was right-handed Tebow. How did they score their second and third touchdown? He's running. Watch the touchdown that puts him ahead. And it looks just like the Tebow touchdown against the Jets. It's like the same play at the same portion of the field in the same spot in the stadium. Like, I mean, I think that's kind of true. And you know, when you get a tip ball to get the score to 19-8, it was a little bit of a stat
I think they're a little
TD.
bit different, as in Bo Nix won't be one of the only guys to practice something as a profession and literally get worse at it as time goes on.
That's fair, but he's got some Tebow. People take that as a knock. You
No,
want to compare
most
me to Tim
people will.
Tebow? That's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, right-handed Tebow. Right, you got your last
I got
one or
my
you want
last
mine?
one.
Okay.
This is how I finished it. And obviously, you can tell when this happened because I wrote, wow, just wow. Totally back on board.
Well, and everybody that's like, you know, throwing stones at those who are being critical, like, if you saw that coming, if you say you saw that coming, you're a total liar.
Yeah.
Nobody saw it coming. So, you know, there's no sort of fan code of if you're not 100% on board with everything that's happening and you believe all the time, even in the face of being down 19-0 heading into the fourth quarter, then you can't get back on the bandwagon. I don't want to hear it. They're not running the bandwagon here. All right, I'm going with one that this might have to be my pinned tweet for a while because this is a little bit of like, I didn't mean it the way I'm going to
how
spin
you're
it.
having to preface even more so.
This is either the Bo Nix moment, like Elway down 19-0 in 1983 to the Colts, or it's the evidence that this isn't the answer. A fascinating 21 minutes ahead. I mean, it was pretty fascinating.
Yes.
And 1983, John Elway's rookie year, late in the season, they're playing Baltimore at home at Mile High Stadium. They're down 19-0. He throws 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Clint Sampson, Jesse Miles, the third one to Gerald Wilhite. Wilhite does the backflip. The place is going nuts. And, you know, it was kind of off to the races. The legend was born. Might turn out to be the same kind of thing.
Well, as we wrap it up, there's a couple things that we'll do each and every week. And then Chavi will kind of put together at the end of the season how it works.
Okay.
Number one, we'll make this quick because I know we're running short on time. All that being said, Miracles are great. They're not sustainable. They're 5-2. I think if most people would have told you they're at 5-2 after 7 games, people would have been pleasantly surprised with that at that point, especially after the couple games where you dropped early.
Yeah.
Knowing that you were going to have to face Philly and Cincy and the like. So what is this team now? And do you have the same, where did you have them at the beginning of the year?
I had them at 8-9. I thought they were going to be better than last year, but the record was going to be worse because I thought the record was inflated. I didn't think they were as good as their 10-7 record indicated because they beat a bunch of bad teams. Every time they played a good team, they lost. So I was like, they're better. They improved in the offseason, but I think they'll take a step back. I think they're probably a 10-7 team. I mean, I am a big believer in you are what your record says you are, because you could look at it and say they had no business winning this one. All right, well, they should have beat the Colts, right? A leverage penalty away. It all evens out over the course of the year. They've got tougher games ahead. Dallas is a challenge. I still think going down to Houston's going to be a challenge, even though that team can't seem to get out of their way. So I think they're a 10-7 team. Maybe, though, they get a couple more crazy wins, they can win the AFC West and be 11 or 12. I think that's certainly possible.
I had them 10-7. I think at the beginning of the year, I think I'll stick with it.
Okay.
You may win 11 because you steal a game like that. You steal the game in Philly. I don't know. Like you said, it all kind of evens out. We're 7 weeks in. This is the big bye week for a lot of teams in the NFL. But as it sits right now, and you'll get 3 predictions. You'll get your prediction, my prediction. We'll get Chavi's as well.
Okay.
As of week 7, who's playing in Santa Clara in February?
Boy, Detroit. I think they're going to be the representative from the NFC. That team is just a juggernaut. And I know they're sputtering of late, but I'm going to go the Bills. I think it's going to be the ultimate, hey, you don't have a dog in the hunt. This is a great Super Bowl to watch because both teams are a lot of fun, and it'd be awesome to watch either fan base finally get to celebrate. So I'm going Buffalo and Detroit.
Damn it. We should have had a pre-show meeting.
We were just busy getting all of our decorations.
Yes, we want to give a shout out to JJ, Trey, Chavi, everyone who helped getting this new set up there. But I was going to say the same two teams, but for the lack of, or for, let's just be a little more interesting. Let's go. And I hate saying this, but Kansas City's looking pretty dang good again right now.
They are. I just can't stomach the Chiefs again. But I will say this. Some of the other teams at the top, it ain't going to be the Colts. It ain't going to be the Steelers. Like, I just don't buy them. So the Broncos.
I don't buy the Buccaneers either on the other side.
Nope.
So
The Broncos outside of the Bills have just as good a shot as anybody else in the AFC.
And I'll go Rams on the other side. Obviously.
Okay.
So that'll be, so week 7, you have Detroit, Buffalo. I'll go Kansas City, LA.
All right.
And then Chavi's selection will be.
I'll keep it quick. I got Broncos, Eagles, Super Bowl.
Hey, we know how that's going to turn out.
How's-
Broncos are going to win that one. We've already seen this. So I love that prediction. It's not crazy, though. And that's what a win like that'll do. And getting to 5-2, and winning in Philly, it's like, okay, it's exactly what they didn't do last year, where they won games that were like, they probably had no business winning it, or they beat a really good team in a tough spot. I now believe this team can win any game. And that I didn't feel that way last year.
There you go. Well, that's it, dude. That's the debut edition of Freshly Grated here on Denver Sports.
Couldn't have gone better.
There's a couple more things we'll get into. We'll keep going with it. Please participate with the show. I want to thank Chavi, our guy, James Marilat, Marcello Romano. You've been watching Freshly Grated on DenverSports.com.